Hey, it's Katie, and welcome back to my booktube channel. For today's video, I'll be doing a book review of Blood Like Magic by Lascelles Sambury. Sorry for the glare on the book cover. This is a library book, so there is a ton of glare. But I read this book the other day. I really enjoyed it. This is a dark urban fantasy, and it takes place in the future, so that's pretty cool. This book is basically about witches, and our main character, Voya, has been waiting years to become a witch, and in order to do that, first you have your calling. And basically, for your calling, you're given this task to complete, and if you pass, you get magic. If you fail, you don't. And she ends up failing, but then her ancestor gives her a second chance. But in order for her to pass this second chance, she needs to destroy her love. The consequence this time, since it's her second chance, if she fails, is that not only will she not get her magic, but every person in her family will be stripped of their magic as well. So obviously the stakes are really high, and she's a lot riding on this one task. Like I said, this takes place in the future, and there is a genetic matchmaking service that just came out, and in order to find her first love, because Voya has never been in love, she decides to join this service, figure out who her match is, fall in love with him, and then kill him by the deadline. As you can imagine, there's a lot going on in this book, but it is so good. It's also a pretty chunky book. I think this is about 500 pages, so it definitely uses every page to its advantage. So much happens in this book, and it's so good. I was really torn between giving this book 4 and 5 stars. I knew I really enjoyed it, but I wasn't quite sure if it was a 5-star read for me, but once I talked it out with my fiance, because I was really stuck, I decided to round it up to 5 stars because I really, really love this book, and I think it's something everybody should read. But with that being said, there are a lot of content and trigger warnings that you should look at, and they are all listed in the author's note at the beginning, so I recommend definitely reading this first. They might also be on Goodreads, I'm not sure, but definitely check those out because there are a lot of tough topics and things mentioned in this book. I really do think that Lascelles Sambury dealt with those tough topics in a very raw and eloquent way. I think she went about it really well, and it was so heart-wrenching, but also it made you just not be able to put this book down, and it was really well done. Her writing was so captivating, and she masterfully incorporated elements of her heritage and also a lot of political and social issues into the book as well. I think my favorite part of this book was definitely the magic system. It is just so intricate and done so well. Each of the family members had a very unique ability, and it was really cool to learn about all of those. And also, it incorporates a hierarchy and ancestors in this family as well. So that was probably my favorite element because it made it so much more intricate, and I loved learning more details about that. Another interesting part about the magic was how we kept learning differences between Voya's family and the other magical families around them, because especially when it comes to how they conduct rituals, it's very different. They go about things very differently, and they have different kinds of magic. Some of them are more pure than others, and I really loved being able to see those differences. I really didn't expect there to be so much science fiction in this. I don't even know if that's one of the main genres, but you could definitely see themes of it throughout, and you guys should probably know by now that I usually stay away from sci-fi, and it's something that I don't usually gravitate toward, but I loved the sci-fi elements in this book. Like I mentioned earlier, this takes place in the future, and so we get a lot of AI and technology that we're not used to, and it was so fun to see those different elements, and I hope that we get even more of that in the second book because those are some of my favorite little tidbits, and I loved the things that the characters mentioned in kind of a nonchalant way, but it was such great world building. They talked about how, everything's digital now, so trying to make a flyer on paper and isn't really a thing, and printers don't even really exist anymore. And they mentioned how you can't really get real butter at movie theaters. It's a modified butter, and I just think it's so cool that there's those different elements that were just kind of tossed in there as little fun tidbits, and I hope we get more of those. I think it's so cool, and it's so crazy to try to imagine what the future would be like because, I don't know, it just seems so crazy. So I really loved those elements. Those sci-fi elements were super great. I loved Voya as our main character. She's so strong and powerful, but she also has these flaws that she really has to learn to work with and love about herself. And her main flaw is the fact that she is incredibly indecisive. She can never really make a decision for herself, and that was very relatable to me because I'm a super indecisive person. So I really felt for her when she was given all of these crazy decisions to make. I don't know what I would have done in her position. It was honestly just really amazing to watch her journey and to watch her start to really believe in herself and to understand the power of making a choice. And it was just so great to see her development throughout the novel. Another little element of this book that I really enjoyed was the fact that Voya was a fantastic cook and baker, and she ends up joining this like cooking competition, and I love food-centric books, so it was such a fun element to like add in the middle of all the chaos that was happening. I thought that was a really nice like balance. This book also has one of my favorite romance tropes where our main character is expected to kill her love, and I just really enjoy that element because, you know, as somebody that is in love with different romances in books, like romance is my favorite elements in books, it just makes it, I don't know, it's like so painful to read, but like I can't look away because on one hand I still want Voya to get close to the love interest because I love watching them fall in love and that's so great, but on the other hand I just get so stressed and nervous like waiting for like the fallout and waiting for, you know, him to realize what's happening or for her to kill him. Like there's just so much anticipation and it was just written so well, and it's just definitely one of my favorite tropes, so I loved that it was in this as well. I feel like it definitely fits those dark fantasy vibes. The only thing I didn't like about this book was the fact that it ended, and this book only came out a couple months ago, so we have to wait so long for a sequel, and I am a very impatient person, so that makes me really sad that we have to wait until sometime next year. But it's so good. Also, the ending, there wasn't like a super huge cliffhanger, but it was like enough of it that was unsettled that I really just, I don't think I'll be satisfied until I get that next book. And so I just can't wait. And as of now, there's not a cover or a title for it, I don't think, and also not a publication date. So I have no idea when we're getting it. It just says 2022. So hopefully sooner rather than later. I really enjoyed this book. If you're looking for like a dark urban fantasy with a bunch of magic, a really interesting romance where the main character is supposed to kill the love interest, and just some really cool chaotic action and like sci-fi elements, definitely pick this one up. I haven't heard too many people talking about it, so this is your chance. Also, this cover is gorgeous, so totally go find this at your local library or bookstore. It's so good and definitely worth it. Alright, so that is the end of my Blood Like Magic book review. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you do end up reading this book, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below or on my Instagram, anything like that. I would love to talk to you guys about it. If you did enjoy this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. And if you do subscribe, please click the notification bell so you know when I upload next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in my next video.